Hey y'all, I'm Karen Mayer Cunningham, the special education boss. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated at the 504 IEP table, you are in the right place. Every week, I'm breaking down the rules, the rights, and the realities of special education so you can walk into meetings informed, empowered, and ready to make real change. And whether you're a parent, a teacher, an advocate, a school-based member, or somebody who's just trying to do right by a student, this podcast gives you straight talk, real answers, and tools that you can use immediately. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to play sides. I'm here to train people who sit at the table and teach you how to follow the law, ask the right questions, and protect the rights of students. So go ahead and hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change. We're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Epic IEP, where we're going to tell you stories that are funny, frustrating, and fantastic. And hang on, it's going to be a little bit longer, but you don't want to miss this. So it's an IEP meeting, and I do these back to back to back. I do about 500 a year besides mediation, state complaints, due process, all the other things that I do, right? And so it's sort of business as usual. I prep the file the same way, kind of highlight, the areas that we're going to discuss. I'm pretty efficient. I don't just sit there for hours so we can bill people. If you ever know an advocate that can do that, that's a terrible modality. And so we get to the schedule of services page, where we list out the services that the student needs to be successful based on his annual IEP goals and his areas of circumstances. And so I said, so we would want an adjustment in the schedule of services page. And I don't know if people in school, I guess everybody that works in a school district, all 8 million employees just agree with each other all day long, 24 hours a day. But she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, we would need an adjustment in the schedule of services page. Why? Well, because you called this meeting because he's not being successful, correct? Yes. And so we're kind of talking through those components. If he's not being successful, then we need to do something different. We need to change the student expectations. We need to make adjustments. And of course, we need to make adjustments in his schedule of services because you said he wasn't being successful. And she said, that's because he's not focused. And so when people say something, I'm just going to, get a little more. I said, because he's not focused. She goes, yes, if he wanted to do this, he could. Can you give me a little more information about that? Yeah, he's not doing his best. He doesn't want to try. I said, I don't know what want to try means, but he has a neurological condition, ADHD combined type, that he's had his whole life. So disability is not a lack of trying issue. And she said, well, in the beginning of the year, he was highly motivated. I said, well, good news. A disability is not a motivation issue. Otherwise, we wouldn't have IEP meetings. We could just have a pep rally. I didn't say that part out loud, but I thought it in my head. And so you will hear people, if you let people talk, which is why I don't understand why schools don't let parents talk, let everybody finish saying what they're going to say. And the first thing, which is important, which you can overcome, is I'm going to learn what you believe about this student, right? And if you believe that it's not a disability, it's a choice, well, that's a different conversation, right? And so we get to the schedule of services page. And so we have this kind of conversation back and forth. We're muddling through it. And I said, so we're going to need to change the schedule of services page. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, he has in-class support for math, English 1, world geography, and biology. I said, well, it's probably a clerical error, but it says 3 times a week. She goes, that's not a clerical error. It's not? No. We decided as a committee, it was 3 times a week. And here's the kicker. I love this, said no one. And mom agreed to it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we agree to things till we have more training, more knowledge, and more learning. I said, but he needs support every day. And she said, why? I said, because he has a disability every day. Actually, he's got it 7 days a week. He's got it Sunday and Saturday, but he has it every day that he comes here. And we could not know as a committee to decide which 2 days he is denied support because he has his disability every day. And it greatly impacts his educational outcomes. Well, we're going to do it because that's what you want. I said, no. It's not because of what I want. It's because of what the data and his output shows, right? You called the parents because he is being unsuccessful. And so just like you, I don't want this student to drop out because he's being told he's not motivated. I promise you, if he could read higher than a 4th grade level as a 9th grader, I promise you he would, but he can't. He has a disability, and we're going to provide him supports and services so that he can be successful for the next 80 years of his life. And so I'm telling you that story to just know that however you advocate, whether you're the principal, the teacher, it's going to be bumpy, right? Because there are people in the meeting that have a different perception based on a lot of things, right? And I will never know what all of those reasons are or the why behind it. The only why that's important is why we are going to set up a plan, why we're going to write an Epic IEP so that he can have successful student outcomes. And that might come with a little disagreement, a little people's feelings getting hurt. I don't know why people's feelings get hurt. It's just an IEP meeting. But if our feelings are getting hurt, we need to feel on my principal telling me we got to cut numbers for kiddos at the highest level. Because we can do that. We can do that based upon patient. We'll set him up for destruction or destiny. And I certainly want to be on the second end of that. So remember, we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. We'll see you guys in the next training. Hit subscribe, share this with a friend. And you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change, we're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody.